Everyone encounters unexpected events in day-to-day life. Some of these might have been avoided. For example, if you had checked the weather forecast before going on a walk, you might have remembered to bring an umbrella and wouldn't have gotten wet. On the other hand, some events can't be predicted. For example, a bus you hoped to take is cancelled by the bus company without any warning. If these types of events occur during the execution of a program, they are known as exceptions. When you are working as a developer, understanding this will help you to create more effective programs. This video provides you with more information on exception types and shows you how to differentiate between them. Have you ever been in an exam and wished that your teacher was sitting beside you to check your answers? With the teacher correcting things, there wouldn't be any mistakes in the answers you submit. As a developer, you are like the student and the compiler is like the teacher. It can check your code and indicate when something is not right. If the compiler is not checking the code written by you, then at runtime, the program can behave in an unexpected manner. In a previous video, you learned about how things can go wrong in a program and were introduced to the term throwable. As you discovered, a throwable represents any unexpected behavior or an exceptional event that occurs during program execution. A throwable can be an exception or an error. Errors and exceptions can fall under two major categories: checked and unchecked. In the case of exceptions, this categorization is based on whether it occurs during compile time or runtime. Exceptions that occur at compile time are known as checked exceptions. Exceptions that occur at runtime are known as unchecked exceptions. There's a specific reason for naming them in this way. In the case of checked exceptions, the compiler checks the code and signals that something is not right and that it needs to be handled. This means these types of exceptions are checked at compile time. In the case of unchecked exceptions, there is no checking by the compiler. So, if there is something that's not correct, it will pass on to the runtime. Then, at runtime, it explodes and everything comes to a standstill. These exceptions are usually caused by programming errors, such as invalid calculations or accessing objects that do not exist. Let's explore how these two exception types might appear in your code. So, what would be an example of an unchecked exception? What if in your Java program you want to open a file on your computer and read it? To do this, you would need to tell the program the name of the file along with its file extension and where to find it in terms of the folder that it lives in. But what if the file has been moved to a different location or deleted from your computer? This is an exceptional situation. This code is designed to open a file in order to read its contents. You'll learn how to work with files in Java later, but for now, remember that using file input stream is the most common way of accessing a file. When you try to create a file input stream for the file that you want to read, the compiler complains that something isn't right. The compiler understands that there is a chance that the file may have been moved or deleted from your computer. So an error is indicated in line 9 of the code where you are trying to create the file input stream. If you hover the mouse pointer over the error, a message appears. The message says, unhandled exceptions, java.io file not found exception. The compiler means that the file you are trying to open may be missing or not found in the location you specified. This is a typical checked exception. The exception is indicated clearly as java.io file not found exception. It also says that it's unhandled. You must handle this in some way because if you don't, the compiler won't compile this code. You'll learn how to handle this kind of exception in a future video. Now, let's examine an unchecked exception. This code is trying to divide 10 by 0. It reads, int number equals 10 divided by 0, semicolon. Since the result of dividing an integer value by 0 is infinity, Java obviously doesn't support it. So, while the compiler isn't currently flagging any issue, it will cause a problem. When the program is run, Java runtime notifies that a division by 0 has been attempted, and it also clearly specifies the line number where it happens. Also, the exception is indicated as java.lang.arithmetic exception. Even though the compiler would not force you to handle this, it should definitely be avoided by using correct coding and testing. You now clearly understand the difference between a checked and an unchecked exception. As you can appreciate, they both need to be handled effectively to prevent issues arising during runtime and interrupting the normal flow of your program execution. Understanding this will help you to write code that runs smoothly and does not create issues later on.